Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. Hey, yesterday we stopped kind of abruptly. I'm Jim, and I'm coming to you from the swing here at my home. We were talking about. In fact, one of the side thoughts was how to listen. We should be listening because they didn't listen. They didn't listen to each other, and now they're in a predicament. But they didn't. In this situation, they found out that Joseph was listening. Joseph, their brother, was listening. Now the reason why didn't they recognize him? Why didn't they recognize him? Because number one, he had a different look. The Egyptian men were all the hair on their body was shaved off. They shaved their heads off. They shaved hair off their heads. They shaved their eyebrows. Everything was shaved off. You couldn't see them. And so the look was different, and the language was different. We find that in chapter 42 that Joseph basically spoke Egyptian. He had an interpreter, and then the length of time had changed so much that they didn't recognize him. So here they were talking about the fact that they had really made a bad mistake, and here Joseph was listening, and when he heard, he stepped aside and he wept because he saw their contrition, he saw their sorrow, he saw that they recognized the fact that they had really done wrong. And that's what he was kind of looking for, to see if there had been any change whatsoever. I was going to tell you about the story about the guy that was an older gentleman, and he couldn't hear very well, and so he went to the doctor. In fact, he couldn't hardly hear at all. And so he went to the doctor, and they gave him one of the newest hearing aids, one that you couldn't see, one that was so minute, one that worked so well that he could hear phenomenally well. So the doctor gave it to him, and he went away for a while. And he was gone for a couple of months, and he said, I wanted to bring you back for a checkup. And so he brought him back, and he said, now listen, how are you doing? Do you like your hearing aid? And he said, oh man, I'm hearing everything. And they said, well, I bet your children are so excited about that. He said, well, no, I haven't told them yet, and I've changed their will 3 times. Because he was listening to their talk and they didn't think he could hear. Anyway, once in a while, a little levity doesn't hurt at all. So anyway, so here they were, and Joseph had brought them before, and now he's weeping. So Joseph gave the command, and he filled these brothers' sacks up, and he put the gold in each of the sacks, and he put the money that they paid for the grain back into the sacks, and he sent them home. And he restored every man the money in his sacks, and he gave them provisions for the journey. And they loaded their donkeys with grain and departed thence. Now, you got to understand that Simeon was the brother they kept, and he put him in prison and held him there until they came back. So they gave him the grain. Now get the picture here. Joseph gave him the grain, and then he did something. He put the money they paid back into each of their sacks. So they put back the pieces of gold, and they went on their way, knowing that Simeon was left there, so that Joseph would be assured that they would bring Benjamin back when they did come back. Okay, but when they got home, it says, so they loaded the donkeys, and but then they got home, and when they opened his sack and to give the donkeys feed in the encampment, he saw his money, and there it was in the mouth of the sack. So he said to his brothers, my money has been restored, and there it is in my sack. And their hearts failed them, and they were afraid, saying to one another, what is this that God has done to us? Oh no, no. And they were so afraid. The man who is Lord of the land spoke roughly to us and took us as spies. But he said to us but we said to him, no, we're honest men, we're not spies. And here they are with the very money that they paid back in their sacks. They go, oh no, here we are. They'll know we're spies, and they'll know we're not honest men. 12 brothers, the sons of their father, one is no more. And then they said, then the man and the Lord of the country said unto them, by this ye shall know that you are honest men. Leave one of your brothers. And so this is when they left, and they went back to their father. And the father was bereaved, and they knew how his father was bereaved of Joseph was no more. And then all of a sudden now, he when they get back home with the grain, he tells his father, listen, we got to go back and take Benjamin. And he said, and Reuben spoke to his father, saying, kill 2 of my sons. I'll be responsible. Listen to what he said. Reuben, the firstborn, the first one, he's, whatever. Then Reuben spoke to his father and says, listen, I'll be responsible for Benjamin. Just let me take him down there, and if I don't come back, kill 2 of my sons. The 2 sons going, what? Can you imagine that? That was not good at all. And then, but he said, my son shall not go down with you. He said, for his brother is dead, and he is left alone. If any calamity should befall him, if any calamity which would befall him along the way in which you go, then you would bring down my gray hair with sorrow now to the grave. Wow. So Joseph, now his brothers begin to return, and they come back, with Benjamin. Wow. These 5 minutes go too fast. But now you get the picture. Now they're back. They went, they took the grain, but let me tell you something. You know how long they were gone? Simeon thought it'd be just maybe a couple of weeks. They were gone for a whole year. Can you imagine Simeon being in prison? Because the father didn't want to give up Benjamin, the love of his heart. But he finally did. And now we're back down, and Joseph sees Benjamin for the first time. What a reunion. See you tomorrow. Bye.